Not sure what all that stuff means in the top toolbar in Cricut Design Space? Well, this video will tell you. Let's talk about the top toolbar in Cricut Design Space. You may or may not be familiar with all the functions of the top toolbar, so we're going to go over most of them except for the operation function. I do have a separate video that covers that, and I'll give you the link below. But let's just talk about what each one of these little functions in the top toolbar mean. So right now I have selected an image. It's just some flowers in a bottle, and I thought maybe I could explain how most of these functions work for you. For me, one of the very most important are the little undo and redo buttons. So if you've made a mistake somewhere along the way, don't panic. All you do is you can hit the undo or the redo. So I'm going to click on this. And another thing I'll explain is that sometimes this box that's around any image is referred to as a bounding box. So if anybody uses that term, that's what they mean. Up here you have what's called deselect, and when you click on that, it just makes your bounding box go away. If you hit select all, it's going to put a bounding box around everything that you have on your screen. So sometimes you want that, and sometimes you don't, but it's going to deselect everything or select everything on your screen. So the next function is edit, and this one is cut, copy, or paste. You can copy and paste to the very same screen that you're on, or, and I'm not sure if you're aware of it, if you go up to the very top right to the word file and click on it, you can click on new window. So you can actually work on 2 or 3 or 4 design space canvases at the same time. I'm just going to go ahead and shut this back down because there may be a part of a project you did that you want to copy and paste to this project you're working on right now. This function will allow you to go back and forth. However, if you right click, whoops, if you right click, you can generally get all the same functions too by right clicking. Right now, the only thing that's going to allow me to do is paste, which we're not going to do that right now. So click on your object again, because you need to have a bounding box around it to get these functions to work. So the next thing is called the offset, and this is a relatively new feature to Cricut that people really enjoy. So if you click on it, you get this box, and it's going to allow you to add a offset around the outside of your image. And if you notice it right now, it's at 1/4 of an inch, which I personally think is too big, but it depends on what you're doing. So you can adjust it by moving this little ball around, or you can just type in what you want. So right now, I think I like that one that I have right now. You can do either a rounded, you can see rounded corners or square corners, and you can apply. It did not, there we go. Okay. The offset function since the last update with Cricut has been a little persnickety, so it may or may not, it has been giving some people some trouble, but fortunately it worked. And as you can see, the default color is black. And so you do have that nice little black frame around there. So when I go ahead and click deselect and select it again, then if you want to make sure that that little black, because that black offset stays with you, you want to group your image back together. So let's go ahead and select all, and this is going to bring me to another function, which is great. It's called align. So I can actually recenter the bottle back onto the offset that was just created. And before we go any further, I'm going to go up here to the group and select that as a group. So now what that means, even though it's not on the top toolbar, something you probably use a lot. Now you can move this object around and everything goes together. If you change the size of anything, it all changes together and your sizes stay together. So it may be something that sometimes you don't want to do it. So if you don't want to, you ungroup it and then you can take your pieces apart. So I'm going to show you kind of what I like about the align function, which currently right now is grayed out because there really is nothing at this point to align. So I'm going to add a shape to the background, and I'm going to go to my operations and I'm going to select that purple. That's just so another thing to understand is this little lock on your bounding box allows you to adjust your ratio or your proportions. If you don't, this will stay as a square no matter how big you make it. So I want to put my bottle on top of that. Now, if I slide the square over this, it's going to cover it up. So this goes to what we call the arrange function. I want my selected object, which is this box, to be on the back. So I want to send it to the back. The last object you've selected is going to be the one that is on the top. So now I'm going to do my select all. I want to align it and I can center it, and there we go. I have my bottle nicely centered on my object, and I can actually make this bigger if I want. So that is what that align, let me select all, that's what the align function does, but you can also center it to the left. You can center it to the top. You can do a lot of stuff with it. And then my cat is sneezing in the background. I'm not sure if you're hearing that. So that's basically what the align function is. So the next function we have is called flip. This is going to take your object and you're going to flip it vertically. So if I flip it vertically, it's literally making it go upside down, and I can flip it horizontally so it flips side to side. So that's something that sometimes you want to do that, sometimes you don't. The next section is the size, and this is what is going to tell you your height and your width. And again, if you want to change it, you can change your sizes by pulling on this arrow in the lower right corner, or you can give it a specific size. And again, you can unlock your proportions by clicking that lock also, and then the lock down here is open. So that is basically what the size is, and sometimes you want a very specific size. So the next function, I live right close to a marine base and I'm having a jet flying over right now, so I apologize for the noise. So I want to select all again. Now rotate is if you want to literally rotate it or turn it, and you can do both. You can do it either by clicking on the upper right on this kind of curved arrow, but if you want a specific rotation, you can put in the number of degrees, and what it is based on, it is based on the 360 degrees of a circle. So if you want to rotate it to the left and you put 90 degrees on, it's going to rotate it just like half, like in a quarter circle. So I hope this makes sense, but that is what you can do if you need to rotate. So let's just go back to our regular size, and we're going to select all. Now position is, you're going to have to remember back to your math classes, your X position is the numbers that are going across your screen. So all these numbers along the top are your X numbers. It's just, do you remember graphing back in the good old days? It's an X or Y axis. Your Y numbers are the numbers along this right side that go up and down. So say for instance, I wanted to put this on 4 and 1. There we go. Here's my X-axis, which is the 4, my Y-axis, which are up and down, it's right there. If you're trying to get very specific about where you want something placed in a design, the knowing how to use your position can really help. And again, you can type something in, you can change it by clicking on these up and down arrows. So hopefully this explains the top toolbar to you, and I hope you learned something or you found something new. Again, as always, thanks for watching. If you have questions or comments, please let me know.